What is going on, Detroit Lions fans? It is Victory Tuesday. Welcome into the Detroit Den 313 with Steve. Look, last night's game was absolutely electric. If you're in as good a mood as I am, do me one little favor on a Tuesday, the first of the month. Please hit that subscribe button. Leave some comments. Let's have a conversation. Hit that like button. Everything you do helps me, and it's truly appreciated. Look, last night's game, I'll say this. That was as close as an atmosphere to the playoff games from last season as I've seen. And I thought that the opening game against the Rams on Sunday Night Football was going to be it. It was still a great game, great atmosphere. But last night in the first half, especially, man, Detroit fans dancing around. Offense is looking good. Defense is looking good. We're winning the game. We're up 2 scores. That atmosphere was probably right up there in the top 3. And the top 2 were the playoff games from last year. So hell of a crowd. Shout out to my guys in the section next to us. A couple buddies of mine, there's a little incident with someone maybe drinking too much and not being able to party on a Monday night properly. I don't want to get too gross or graphic, but if you can pick up what I'm saying, aisles had to be cleared out. That's all I'm saying. But if you have a young son or daughter who's playing football and you're teaching them to play quarterback, and you want them to watch some videos on how to play quarterback, you need to look no further than last night's game with Jared Goff. Okay. He was absolutely perfect. 18 of 18. Just putting on an absolute clinic last night. Perfect game, Jared. I don't have any complaints. 18 of 18, 292 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. And if he's available in your fantasy football league, pick him up. You can throw him in the flex because what he's doing as a receiver is absolutely unstoppable as well. He has more touchdown receptions than like Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and even our own Sam Laporta. So he's got more receiving touchdowns. Might not have the yards or the receptions, but you guys pick up what I'm putting down, man. Absolute quarterback clinic last night. Look, I watched Jared Goff, and he's been scrutinized and questioned and caught some, I think, fair criticism for the first 3 games, where the offense was struggling, and I'm guilty of the criticism as well. I'm constructive. I'm fair. I don't have anything to say about last night's game. I thought it was the best quarterback performance I've seen in a long time. Now, we might not be chucking the ball down, 80 yards like that, but we were getting big plays. Jared Goff was hitting the right reads, getting the ball to the right people, the playmakers, getting them speed and space, if that's a term you're familiar with. I think Jared Goff put on an absolute quarterback clinic. He took the offense up and down the field at will. At one point, halfway through the third, I was thinking, all right, Seattle wants to turn this game into a shootout, and we're up 2 scores, and they really can't stop us. So I was fairly comfortable. There's my one little nitpick, and I don't think this is Jared Goff's fault. My one little nitpick, the one thing I'm going to bring up, I didn't like passing the ball at around the 2-minute warning of the 4th quarter and the safety. Just run the ball, get yourself some space, take a little time off the clock. Let's not put points on the board for them and give them a ball back. But whatever. Other than that, Jared Goff, A+ effort, 10 out of 10, no complaints. I want to see games like that for the rest of the season, and this team will be absolutely unstoppable. And like I said, it's just nice to see the offense firing on all cylinders. We're getting big plays from Jamison Williams, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, our offense was finally clicking. Sam Laporta showing up today. Didn't have a crazy stat line game. Let me look at his stats real quick. What did Sam Laporta have? 4 catches for 53 yards, but he had a long of 30 on a screenplay that I think was huge and ended up setting up a score. So it was just complimentary football on offense. Everyone doing their part. I think we only had 1 holding penalty on the offensive line. We didn't have any false starts, I don't believe. So the offensive line was solid. There were some question marks with that coming into the game with Ragnow being out. We knew Graham Glasgow was going to slide over to center. When I got to the game and I noticed who was taking first-team reps in warm-ups, Coyote Awasika played phenomenal. I mean, we didn't have to say his name. He didn't get a holding penalty. He didn't give up a sack. He might have given up a sack, but even I can't say that for sure. I don't know. But I thought he played very well for getting thrown into the fire with Frank Ragnow being out, some shuffling going on. Coyote, hell of a game. I think we'll see what happens with Frank Ragnow going forward before we discuss any more, but I'm comfortable with Coyote Awasika playing guard if that's the road we have to go down. The most interesting thing to me was that the Seattle Seahawks outgained us on the ground. Okay. That's probably My only negative, I thought we could have done a little defensively. I thought we were solid, very, very good. I don't care that we gave up 29 points. I'll get to that in a second. But the only thing I'll say a little bit negative about the defense was I don't think we tackled very well yesterday. I don't know if that's a product of Kenneth Walker. He's an absolute animal. He's a beast. We're familiar with him from the Michigan days, Michigan State, that battle. He's a stud. He's a stud running back, and he got loose a couple times. He was hard to tackle. He was out wide a couple times, and they would just dump him the ball because we were playing a soft defense, too big of a cushion, I think. But, you can't give that guy the football and give him 7-8 yards of space because he's going to do something with it in the passing game and in the running game. He hit some holes. He got loose. What was his long run? He really broke one off, and I thought he was gone. A 28-yarder. I think Brandon Joseph made a touchdown saving tackle on that play. So shout out to Brandon Joseph, another guy that we're talking about, next man up, playing a lot of reps with Brian Branch being out. But Kenneth Walker, he only had 12 carries for 80 yards. So, I feel like we forced Seattle to get a little bit one-dimensional, and they ran the ball very, very effectively when they could. I'm looking at Kenneth Walker's stats: 12 for 80, a long of 28, 3 touchdowns. All of his touchdowns were goal line situations, but he was averaging 6.7. I know most of that came on the long 28-yard run, but when you look at the stat sheet, yeah, we got outrushed, but it's okay because we won the turnover battle. Now, you can't get outrushed on the ground and lose the turnover battle. So ultimately, we had what we had? We had two turnovers. I think we had a fumble and an interception late in the game. So the fumble led to us scoring points, and obviously the ceiling interception from Kirby Joseph at the end stopped them from scoring. So that's a 14-point swing in a 13-point game. That's huge. So we couldn't afford to lose both of those. You can't get outgained on the ground and lose the turnover battle. So we stuck to our guns, bend but don't break. Man, this team is going to be dangerous when it gets healthy and everything's firing. Okay. And we're getting there. And maybe Dan Campbell was right when he said that it might take up until the bye week until this offense is really firing, and the bye week's here. And the offense just played probably its best complete game. I'm trying to compare it to the Broncos game, and it's right there. We played a complete game from start to finish on offense. We had explosive plays, man. And it was pointed out to me, Seattle dominated the time of possession and yards, and that's fine. That's cool. I'll take points per game any day. As long as my team scores more points than you, that is all that matters. We had more explosive plays. The play with J-Mo, 70-yard touchdown, that's just another play I'm talking about with Jared Goff, man. Just dialed in. He threw a perfect ball, hit a flying Jamison Williams on an in route. It just took it to the house, like hit him in stride, full speed. As soon as he caught that ball, everyone at Ford Field knew he was gone. There was no one that was going to catch him. The field was wide open. It was a perfect throw, perfect route. David Montgomery, while we're talking about stuff, let me back up real quick, and then I'm going to mention David Montgomery. But if you guys are familiar with what goes on at game days, before both teams head into the locker room, they kind of gather around their vocal leader. For Detroit Lions, that's Penei Sewell. He gets all the boys around him, gets them round up. I saw something interesting on Twitter last night. I guess the guy that does that for the Seattle Seahawks is Tyrell Dotson. I saw on Twitter that before the game, he's getting his guys all gathered around and he's giving them his little pep talk before the game. He mentioned that Detroit wasn't tough. He said, these motherfuckers aren't tough. All right. I apologize for swearing. I really try to dial back on the swearing, but that's his words, not exactly mine. So Detroit ain't tough, man. They're not a tough team. Well, from what I saw, David Montgomery caught a 40-yard pass. And I don't know, maybe we should ask Devon Witherspoon if Detroit's tough, because the rumor is that Devon Witherspoon is still laid up on Ford Field waiting to get scraped off the ground because David Montgomery trucked him and then took a simple little check down pass for 40 yards. Like, this team is tough. All right. Maybe your eyes are open now, Tyrell Dotson. I know you're trying to get your boys fired up, but speak of talk like that ain't going to get it done, because this is one of the toughest football teams in the NFL. All right. We normally dominate the trenches, and we did offensively. You guys did your thing on offense too. Shout out to you. Credit's due. So you guys ran the ball effectively. You kept Geno upright most of the game. That's a tough football team in Seattle too. I'm not trying to say that they aren't. Well, don't come in here and saying that the Detroit Lions aren't tough, because our whole motto for 4 years has been grit. That's what this team has been founded on. So David Montgomery, I don't think it was a response to what he said, but obviously it's the play that stood out to me. He absolutely trucked Devon Witherspoon and picked up a massive gain. So that's probably just something that shouldn't be happening. I have one more nitpick, and this isn't even team related. I saw some people. I've seen the rumblings that a lot of people aren't happy with how the defense played. There's just sometimes you can't make everyone happy, I guess. But I thought the defense played phenomenal. Okay, this is the NFL. It's 2024. This isn't 1985 with the Chicago Bears and the monsters of the Midway or defense or anything like that. Like, teams are going to score points. It's really, really hard to shut teams out. The Seattle scored 29 points. I will say that the Detroit Lions defense, other than the little bit of poor tackling, played phenomenal. All right, I would have liked to have seen maybe some more pressures, but as a whole, I just felt like our defense as a whole stepped up. Like Josh Pascal, you're cast into a new role this week with Davenport being out. Brandon Joseph, you're in a new role this week because Brian Branch is out. Like, I thought those guys stepped up. We played complimentary football. There were some throws that Geno Smith made, and I said to myself, how does that ball not get knocked down? Like, we had guys flying around, trying to swipe at the ball, just missing it by like a fingernail. It was real close. I feel like, and I hate talking referees. I absolutely hate it. I've only really done a whole show on referees one time, and that was the Dallas game. The refs were very, very piss poor yesterday, and I can say that because I can't get fined by the NFL. I don't work for the NFL. So I'm just looking at the penalties. We had 12 penalties for 101 yards compared to Seattle's 9 for 70. We gave Seattle a whole football length in penalties, and I thought most of them, I would say of the 12, I would say 10 of them were absolute ticky-tacky plays, mostly defensive holdings and defensive pass interference. There was one play where Carlton Davis had absolute beautiful defense on, I think it was DK Metcalf. It would have been a touchdown. Carlton Davis came over the top without pulling or tugging on the receiver to alter his route, and they threw a flag on it. And Carlton Davis was so livid, and I was with them. I was getting pretty pissed off in section 139 as well. I thought Carlton Davis was honestly going to get thrown out of the game because of how close he got to the referee. I thought he was maybe going to bump him, and that would have been it. He would be probably looking at a light paycheck and a suspension. So I'm glad he kept his cool. I thought the penalties were absolutely atrocious. I hate talking penalties. If you're going to call ticky-tack holding penalties on the defense, but I'm watching Aiden Hutchinson get put in a rear naked choke every single time he rushes the football. And I get it. I don't want to be at the field till 8 o'clock in the morning playing a 12-hour football game with penalties all day. But there's got to be some give and take, okay? The only penalties I think we deserved was, I think, when we had 12 men on the field, we noticed it right away. We had 2 guys come on, but only 1 guy left. I said, they better do something because there's 12 guys on the field. They didn't notice, got a penalty. There's little stuff like that you can't control. But a lot of these judgment calls that these refs have to make, I felt all of the judgment calls went to the Seattle Seahawks, and that's what kept them in the game, and that hindered the defense, and that's why we gave up 29 points. And I promise, if you know me, I hate talking referees. They're a part of the game. I don't want them to be a factor in the game. All right, you're there to police it up. I just thought it was absolutely, the referees, you get like an F and a 1 out of 10, only because I have to give you a number. Thought it was absolutely terrible last night. If you guys have been watching me long enough, you know I don't usually talk this long about referees. So at the end of the day, the Detroit Lions are 3-1 at the bye week. Time to get some guys healthy, get ready for the Dallas Cowboys who were banged up. I want to see their team get healthy too. I want to beat Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't want an easy pass. I get more satisfaction out of beating football teams who are good and healthy. I don't want any question marks about, oh, if we had this, we would have won. No, I like putting that shit to bed. I want to see these guys fully healthy, Lions healthy, Cowboys healthy. Let's enjoy this bye week. Leave some comments down below, guys. If there's anything you want me to talk about, I have 2 weeks with some extra time with this bye to get some stuff in. So leave some comments, stick around, hit that like button. I'll be back later with another show.